What is on top of the deck? What is on top of the deck? Oh, it's Lightning Helix! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Welcome to Hunt the Week.
Hello everyone and welcome into the show. Welcome on in. Each and every one of you rogues out there who's having a party. I'm having a party with my favorite rogue, my favorite cleric, my favorite warrior, and my favorite the other wizard. That's the other one. It's a wizard. That's right. We're going to AFR, everyone. I hope you're ready. Hope you're ready to roll some dice and you got your D20s ready, because we are going to a plane that was seen as low power and not up to par, I think, as far as a lot of the other planes that we've been going to, right? We've been going to a lot of these very powerful planes along the way, and here we are at Brawl Plane, AFR. Everyone wanted it. Everyone wanted to play Brawl, right? Everyone wanted the Brawl Plane, and now a select handful get that joy as they get to figure out how to build their Brawl deck. And I wish I was building my Brawl deck. I had a decent Brawl deck, I think, but I didn't make it. I needed to go 5-1 to make it to week 6, and I went 4-2. We're going to talk about it as we planeswalk.
Let's planeswalk.
All right, as I record, it is 3:54 on Thursday, and this is your top 8 for Planechase League. Number 1, Johnny M, 18-7. Number 2, Sawyer T, 17-7. Number 3, Tony G, why not, 16-9. Jesse R, 16-9. Caleb G, 16-9. Jake C, 16-9. Dan A, 16-9. This is a weird top 8, isn't it? I feel like, I don't know if it's a smaller league or just all the restrictions and stuff, but normally there's people that are just way out in front, right? Someone who's above 20 wins by now sometimes, right? And I'm not saying Johnny and Sawyer aren't way out in front, but I feel like everyone's sitting at 16-9, right? A lot of these people are it's a closer top 8 than I think I'm used to. I don't know. It's just I'm used to seeing a lot more losses to go around in the top 8. You got most people that are only on 2 losses and out, and I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. I'm not sure why. If it's smaller league or just, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't get it. Someone please figure it out. Those are your top 8. Those are your people to watch out for. And me, myself, I didn't make it. I died. Like I said, I went 4-2. I needed to go 5-1. I was happy to get some wins on my way out. Played in a great feature match against Michael M on Monday. Love playing in the feature matches. And I'll say, I watched it back. There's a part, Richard is so amazing. I just want to say one thing about Richard. Richard is insanely smart with his Magic commentary and his Magic know-how. I'm watching my game back, and Richard is talking about how I complained on the podcast about Eldraine Week, which I'll talk about in a minute. But he's like, he only had 1 card in this deck, and I bet it was Lorehold Command. And he was right. He was right. He picked the 1 card out of my 80-card deck that made it into my Eldraine Week. And which Richard's just so smart, man. He pays so much attention. And I made a play where I made a really bad block, and the block didn't make sense. And Richard's like, okay, the only reason this block makes sense is if he has a board wipe, and then the next turn I wipe the board. He just knows his stuff, man. And I love watching the commentary and playing in the feature matches. So please play in the feature matches if you can. I don't think we're going to have them next league because Richard's not going to be here, right? I believe Richard is taking next league off. So I'm going to take this moment to kind of give Richard tip of my cap for all he does with the league. He's taken one off, and it's not going to be the same, right? It's always not the same when someone who's been in a lot of leagues is gone, right? Like, that's how I feel about Maxime right now. Maxime has missed a couple leagues, and Maxime has always been around since I've been there, and I miss seeing them around. So I'm looking forward to them coming back. I think they're coming back for one. Hot take. This is my saltiest league. I'm just going to say this real quick. Not trying to be negative, Chris York. I'm trying to be the everyman, right? We all have salty leagues, I'm sure. This is my saltiest one I think I've been in for 2 reasons. One, Eldraine Week just destroyed me. Really, really knocked me out of my chances of getting top 8, which I'm pretty bummed about. But also, this is the first league I've had someone roll me a pack that was for the wrong person that was amazing. I didn't talk about it on the podcast because I wasn't ready to. But man, that's a bad feeling. Because like if losing sucks, right? Losing doesn't feel good. But then you see a pack and you're like, you don't even know who I am. You beat me and you don't even know my name. I'm the podcast guy, okay? My name was on your screen for an hour while we played. And you got to pick one of the 5 other Johns. And as a John, I'm sure this happens to the other Johns all the time. But man, picking the wrong pack for the wrong person, it feels very bad. That was a very bad. I had to leave for a little while after that happened. But that just means I'm due for someone to pick my name and roll a really bad pack, right? And then pick the other person. Then bring it back for a good pack. Please, please. Karma. Let's get working on this thing. But here we are in Brawl Week. And if you've opened a Brawl Commander, I think you're going to be feeling pretty happy with yourself if you've opened up a Legendary sometime in the last 5 weeks. Because the ones they give you, I think they're fine. But anybody that can play a 3-color deck, that's what this league has really been, right? Like, this has been Greed Central, 3 to 5 colors in every week, right? Even monocolored week. The decks that are being greedy and putting in all their powerful cards, they're kind of doing the best, I think. And I think that that's going to go into Brawl Week. Like, if you have a 3 or 4 color commander, you're going to be pretty happy about that because you're going to be able to play all the cards you've been playing forever. So this will be a restriction for people who haven't opened up good legendaries, and it's not going to be a restriction for some of the people that have, I don't know, a Falco sitting around or an Omnath or a Golos. Man, someone gets to play Golos in Brawl Week. Golos is banned. It's just so good. Oh, I'm so jealous. I am so jealous of that person. So jealous, in fact, that I talked to them. So let's go ahead and roll the planner dice.
A game for those who seek to find a way to leave their worlds behind. You roll the dice to move your token, doubles get another turn. The first player to reach the end wins. 6.
Yes, that's right. I talked to the one, the only, Lotte. She came on the show and I tried to get her to tell me how to pronounce her name. And she did. And I still did it wrong. So however you say it, she's fine with it. It was really nice to talk to her. You know, their deck seems really fun and they're having a really good league. Right now they're sitting at 10th with 1 game left on the week. And I think they have a great Brawl Commander. So I think they're actually sitting in a really, really nice place to maybe make a top 8 in their first Mega Draft. And I will be rooting for her to do that. But before that happens, let's go ahead and listen to my interview with Lotte now. All right, everyone, join me as we roll the planner die with Lotte. Thank you for coming on the show, Lotte.
Hello, John. Thanks for having me.
Hello.
Great to be here.
We went over pronunciations before we began, and it's something I am going to struggle with, so bear with me, everybody. I don't have the Dutch pronunciations ready to go.
And I'll accept any good faith effort. Like if there is an L sound in there, then I'll know what you're talking about.
I'm going to try my best, and please don't hold it against me. But thank you so much for coming on the show. You're doing great. You're having a fantastic league. We all know you as the scary Golos World Tree player. I think that's the opinion I've got, and I'm trying to avoid that combo. But I want to know, when did you start playing Magic?
Yeah, so I've been loving the league so far, and really reignited, I would say, my love for Magic in a bit of a way. So I started playing Magic. No, I want to say I was about 18, 19. Like it was about Terra's Tarkir block. I remember going to the Cons of Tarkir pre-release, and I got a Narset, which I was my first commander deck around. That was all great.
Take all the extra turns deck.
Oh yeah, it was horrible because we had such a new nice friend group, and I didn't know, I was young and naive and I didn't know about commander arms race yet, so just in one swoop started up the arm race and made all the fun donate stuff not viable anymore in our local pay group. So whoops. I didn't mean to. I'll promise that.
Well, Tarkir and Theros, a lot of people I've found have started around that, and that's kind of right around when I started too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and what a bunch of fun, good sets, right? I started at M14. I think it was M14, then Theros, then Tarkir, and I started right before Theros. But man, yeah, a lot of those were some really fun sets to come in on, and Tarkir, oh, that's an all-time great.
Yeah, for sure. Like I really started like I did like only a couple drafts of Dark here. I like even went to the local game shop
Uh-huh.
with some friends. But I really only got into like hard into limited when Arena rolls around and we got into the pandemic, and so we had the Eldraine and the Ikoria, which
Yep.
both happen to be my favorite limited sets, and also the Planechase set. So that's a nice coincidence there.
We've hit some really good planes as far as like good fun draft sets in Planechase. Like Kaldheim was a lot of fun. SNC was great. Like we haven't hit any like sets that I didn't enjoy drafting so far in Planechase, which I think is really nice.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mostly skipped the first three sets, but I think like I'd kick myself for taking a break when Call Time came out because
Yeah.
I think I would have loved to see like all the meta shit and trying to make the most out of that set, and now it's just so complex. I don't know where to start. And
Kaldheim's a lot of fun because you got the snow synergies, but you also have all the tribal synergies. You know, you play in
yeah,
elves because like, oh, elves was a lot of fun. Or you could do like the landfall thing, and the landfall deck worked really well too. A lot of really fun mechanics in Kaldheim. It was a real good one.
yeah. So actually, for Ikoria, you were talking about like Goils in the World Tree earlier,
Yeah.
but I opened up a loot tree in my Ikoria
Oh
pack,
no.
so now I feel so like I feel like the arch enemy. Like I feel
Do you
I don't even I have a losing record this week, and I think that's fine. I kind of feel like um um I am the person that everyone would love to beat. So I kind of like sheepishly I'm like go start my games and wait for the growing test on the to appear like either in the Discord or on Arena.
so do you get to are you companioning Lutri? Do you get the
Yeah,
companion
I'm
bonus?
companion in Loot Tree, so it's only only had to cut a single card, so
Oh
it
wow.
wasn't
Yeah.
a hard choice.
Yeah. I guess in Planes Chase kind of chaos, you're not playing a lot of doubles. So like yeah,
Yeah,
getting
so
Lutri
Loot
in
Tree
is
is for the one who don't have like on top of the head, it's a companion that's a 3/2 with flash for 3, and then it copies any instant or sorcery spell you cast. So a removal spell or a counter spell, basically, in my case.
and it's just an extra card you get for
Yeah.
free at the beginning. It could be it could be a vanilla 3/3 and it's still great because it's no investment, right? Like literally
Hmm.
one card cut. You have an extra card whenever you want it, just for free. Like fantastic. Good. Oh, wow, your deck sounds scary. So let's talk Planes Chase. You're doing well. Have you been enjoying the different planes? Did you like Eldraine Week where we had to go down to single color? How are you liking it?
So I've been loving it. Really, like for like it's only my third league. I did the Dominaria United and Roster and then this one. Um, and for the first two leagues, I was like, oh, I was doing so. I wasn't too invested. I wasn't doing like too well either. I just had like a little bit like I had got up to 8-11 or something. That's in Brothers War as my best finish. So I had only made like week 5 for the first time ever this league. Um, I love like the different flavors of the plane, and like it really feels kind of like, oh, we're going to a different place, and everyone is getting all the new all the new goodies from the packs, and there's like something extra going on, and like especially for the Call Time and Strixhaven planes, where as I mentioned before, I didn't play much of those limited formats, so it really feels nice to like here is this typical thing from the draft set, and like put it in your pool, and it will make like all the other cards work that you're they were going with. So I think that's great. Um,
It's been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying all the different sets we're going to, and like the 80 cards that we're in this week. I'm having a blast with that. Right, like
mhm.
that's a lot of fun. That's a restriction I can deal with. The monocolored week was a little tough for me, but this one, oh, I can just throw extra cards in. That's fine. Oh, I got extra
That's
cards.
great.
Like
Yeah, I think like do you feel that it's better if you have a little different packs, or I guess like maybe it also evens the playing field a little bit because the bombs can't be too impactful if you're playing 80 cards.
yeah, it's real hard to find your best cards when there's 80 cards, right? And you also kind of have to put in some worse cards to fill the deck. Like cards that didn't make the cut before are now making the cut. So there's
Yeah.
even some worse cards in your deck than you would probably like. So yeah, I think it does even the playing field out quite a bit, which has been yeah, really enjoyable.
Yeah, I think so too. Like for me also, the Eldraine League, it was super hard. Like I did a little bit of like testing with, like I'm playing a black red deck usually.
Uh-huh.
Did a little bit of testing with that, and both colors felt atrocious. Like they're really like all my strong cards are like red, gold uncommon. So
Yep.
I really didn't feel like I could do anything. Uh, and then I decided to go like, okay, I guess I'll have to like try and spike some wins somehow.
Hmm.
So I decided to go for a build, which I'm actually really proud of because it kind of worked. I went to two, but I decided to go for a build that just has all the different colors and tries to mulligan most of the time until it finds goes also the world tree. And then like I combined it with white, which had some good early game and life linkers and flyers, so it could also compete a little bit on that level. But it felt atrocious. It was so inconsistent. But I'm very happy that I managed to sneak in a 2-2 with that.
Yeah, I mean, Golos in the World Tree, it's kind of cheating on monocolored week, right? Where it's
Yeah.
just like, uh, but it's. I guess it is good that it was a little inconsistent because if it wasn't inconsistent, I think you had a huge advantage over a lot of people. Just for having, well, even just Golos to grab any land is fantastic. But then the World Tree to make all your lands in any color to activate Golos is just brutal,
Yeah,
brutal.
that's insane. That's like something you don't like expect to get out of any limited format usually. Um,
That's what I
so
really like about Chaos and what I've really been liking about Planeschase is finding the fun synergies in between sets that you can make work. Like I've said it before. I've got Maskwood Nexus, which turns all my creatures into every
mhm.
creature type, and then I've got Crux of Fate, where I can destroy all non-dragons.
Oh, I was
Right?
looking at your deck earlier
Yeah.
and I saw the combo. I was like, oh, this looks amazing.
Yeah, it's like that's I've only pulled that off twice, but like it's a great combo, and like those cards were never really meant to be played together. And same thing with that Risen Reef. Got Risen Reef in there. Turns all my creatures into elementals. All of a sudden, I'm kind of
Ah,
comboing off with that. Like
yeah.
um, it's real fun to find like really strong synergies that were
Mhm.
never really meant to be played together like that. And that's part of the fun, right? That's part of the fun of the sealed and limited environment is cracking the
Definitely.
code.
Also, I think like like I've done like real life chaos chess before, and like you want to get that amount of synergy, but you usually don't get there because there's so few cards, and a lot of cards are very specific. But we have probably you easily have 10 to 15 packs with to work with
Yeah.
once you're halfway through the league. So there's definitely opportunities for some crazy rare and rare synergies to happen.
Yeah, and these sets are really working well together. That's the other thing. Like these sets are like all that fixing early on kind of leads to people being able to play maybe a few more cards that they couldn't
Mhm.
play before. And this has been a really great fun league.
But I've
So
also like been a little more active on the server too. So
yeah, well, you know what? It's because you're and maybe this I feel the same way. Maybe you have the same opinion as me, which is if I'm doing well, I'm more active in the server. And if I'm not doing as good, I'm not as invested, right? So if I'm doing really good, then I'm kind of on more and I'm kind of talking more. And here you are, and you're doing great, right? Like are you in the top 8 still?
yeah, I think I'm like on the cusp of the top 8, like by
Yeah.
tiebreakers.
Oh, well, I hope you make the mega draft. It'd be your first one, right? No, that's a real
Yeah,
fun thing to do.
yeah, who knows? But like I'll try and stay active and I inevitably bomb out and get fractionized in the first week in the next week.
Well, that's good. Don't be me, because when I get sad and salty, and then I'm like, I don't need to see everybody have fun. Uh, Lotte, this was the first time I kind of opened the questions up to the
Mhm.
Discord, um, and I got a bunch of questions from people for you specifically.
All
So
right, that's it.
we're going to go over these, and I sent them to you before, so hopefully these aren't too much of a surprise. But we're
Mhm.
going to start with Damien's because it's pretty interesting because I know nothing about this. Uh, Damien S., aka Buttcrack Magic, says, "Hey, since you have a picture of you talking in Parliament, I can imagine you participated in political simulation, debates, municipal or federal talks. Is there anything that reminds you of Magic when you are there? Or are you sometimes like that speaker is definitely a control player? That guy is stumbling, his deaf man is screwed, or anything of the sorts?"
So Okay, so two things. So the picture actually is not anything political at all. It's just me giving speech at like a event for my student organization, like I would guess like a sorority you would call it in the US.
Sure, yeah. I thought Damien was so smart. I was like, man, Damien picked Parliament out of this little picture. Man, he knows his stuff.
Yeah, but I do want to say like it is like the building that it is actually like kind of important for historically because it was the exact building. Like I don't think it's the exact room, but definitely the exact building that the Netherlands declared their independence from Spain in the late 16th century.
Oh, so there's history
There's
here.
history, and then it got bought by university in like the 19th century. So now it's just a university place.
That's a really funny. I think Damien's got a funny point though to say like, oh, this guy's having a bad day. He must be man screwed, or like,
Yeah, like I think that's a funny way to think about it. But actually, that's the other thing. I was actually thinking about that because I was active in politics for a while. I was um, active in a political party and I went flyering and stuff. The Netherlands has this crazy 16 party system, which
oh
I would
wow,
not recommend. Um, and I was like active in the youth wing and in some local politics. And now I go out of that, but I am working for the national government. So like I have to deal with politics in my real life and how the sausage system works. And I was actually thinking about that and talking about that with my boss. That um, one thing that annoys me about politics and power and government is that um, you're kind of supposed to all work for the common interest,
sure.
like do what's the best for everyone, right? But like in practice, like that almost never happens. It's so hard to like try and do like of course if you're work for the government, like usually it's like a little bit more of a persons with
Yeah,
some idealistic motivations, but in practice it's so hard because there's so many different political things going on and so many different interests from different groups and different parties, and especially in the Netherlands, like it's very common um, for the ministries to really like protect their leaders, the Ministry of Education, for example, or the Minister of Health. And so that's really all really complicated. And then there's magic, and there's just like it's super clear. You like there's a win condition. You either win or you lose. You don't like have to do like this whole social stuff and like really like try and think about what everyone wants. Just simple like that. So I think that's kind of relaxing. Like I get to use different parts of my brain.
since you're so entrenched in the political system in the Netherlands, what color pair do you think the political system of the Netherlands is, from your opinion? Are they a
Oh, that's
Demeter?
interesting.
Or they sound, I want to say Azorius, but you know more than I do. What color? Give us a color pair that
Oh yeah,
represents.
the government. It's interesting. Like so, I would say like the central government is Azorius, but like governments tend to be Azorius.
Oh,
There liberals are in power, like more of the center right people who are more like capitalistic. So I guess that's more black. Um, it's a very like all for their own system. So maybe you could throw some green in there. Like I would say. I don't know. Oh, maybe Celestia or Bulgari.
okay. Oh, Golgari. Okay, let's say they're what is it, Abzan? Maybe they're Abzan.
Yeah, like I wish they were like um I wish they were a little bit more blue sometimes, but you can't have everything. Uh,
Don't we all want to be a little more blue and draw a couple more cards, right? Don't we all just want a little bit more value out of our lives
I
and out of
mean,
our
it is
political
my
system?
favorite color. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too. Me too. It wasn't at first, but man, I got there eventually.
Yeah.
This one comes from Cody. Cody Race. League. Trickster. I don't know what Cody does.
That's
but
such a good description.
Cody says he's curious what the Magic scene is like in the Netherlands. Is it big there? Also, how does the time zone difference affect you? Is it significantly challenging?
Yeah, so like the magic scene is quite big here, I think. Like I think in my city, I live in Utrecht, which is the fourth largest city of the country. So and there are at least two like active local game shops, maybe
Okay.
more. But for me, like I tried getting into it at some point during the Tokyo era and then also during Calades, so I did a little bit of effort, but I never really connected with it too much. Like at the risk of of like offending everyone who's on the server, there is a very like you see it sometimes more in Magic Space, but I don't definitely not on the server. It is a little bit of a certain type of people, like a little bit of entranced magic players um, um, who are not like always very like sociable is maybe the right term to use in English for this.
Sure. Yeah.
And I never really like vibe with that. I mean, I was one of the only like usually the only girl there.
Uh,
Like there was one other girl who came sometimes, who was also around 20 at that age, but also like my life was just um, super different. Like people are super deep into nerd culture,
yes.
and like I have lots of friends who are deep into that, and I mean at times I am too. I mean I'm not on a Magic Kick server playing this for nothing, but I mentioned for example that um, I was active in a sorority, sorority in at the same at that time, and that is just like such a different world that I couldn't really connect to, and I felt a little bit from with the people who were there. So I always felt a little bit like an outcast. So
Sure.
I never
You're the
really got into the paper scene in the Netherlands.
first person I've ever thought of someone being in a sorority and also playing Magic at the same time. Not two things that I would think as an American would really go together. Uh,
Yeah, like I mean, it's a little different, right? It's like I wouldn't. It doesn't translate one to one. So it's not like in Netherlands, it's not like a place you live with.
okay.
But it's a little and it has a little similar culture. But like the thing I was with was more on the open and progressive side than the more conservative ones.
I also I prefer to play online. The story is I've met great people playing Magic, but boy, have I met some not so great people playing Magic. In fact, I did pre-release yesterday, and it was the first time I
Mhm.
played in person since last pre-release, and there was a very certain odor in my LGS that I was like, yeah, this is something I don't miss. I don't miss this kind of stuff. Uh,
Oh yeah, so I will say I went to the Brotherford pre-release and it was fun. So
Well, good. It's the stores. I mean, they need our help. Magic. I mean, that's how Magic came. That's how a lot of us found it in the first place, right? As these LGSs. But it is just so easy to play online when you can just open a client, especially in the league, where it's like, oh, I play my league, I put my LFM in, and oh look, I'm playing my game, and here we go.
yes, definitely.
This,
Cody also asked like about the time zone difference,
yeah,
and so that's for me. I'm a bit of a night owl, so it's not too bad. Like I don't mind playing my games at like 9 and 10. Um, so for me, it's fine. But I do think that there's like a big part of the day that I am not um, that there's basically no one online. Like I can't do like a game after lunch in the weekend, for example. Um, and like there's lots of stuff happening, like the future matches or like the spaghetti series. And I think like both of them are like really cool. But I will basically never participate in these. Like they're like smack in the middle of the night here. So they're
similar
both.
complaints that we've heard from Jesse when he came on is that if you live deep in Europe, it's hard. It's hard to be really involved in the community sometimes because you miss out on a lot of these really fun things.
Yeah, but I think there's also like it's a little bit of a chicken and egg thing, right? So if you have more active people, then it also attracts other more active people.
Yeah, see, that's true. And again, this is also a smaller league. It's as far as the other ones have been. But Caleb G, why not? He also had a question for you. He wanted to know if there are any funny, any cards come to mind that have unintentionally funny translations.
So Magic isn't actually translated in Dutch, which
I
is
was
part of the
curious.
like that's also part of the reason why you see like so many Dutch Magic players like on the English speaking internet. Like there are their own communities, but like in general, many Dutch people will like congregate to English speaking websites.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but one thing that I do think is very funny is um, do you get you were are you living in Canada or the US?
I'm in the U.S.
You're in the US. Like in the US, we don't really do like anonymization for criminals, right? In the US. So if someone is like, I know, what's a Terranose woman? Elizabeth Holmes? I know her last names.
Sure, sure.
Um, so, but in the Netherlands, that's legal, I think, or at least her last name will never be reported. It will
Uh-huh.
only be Elizabeth H. So you like when I see like your name, John P, for example, like in the server, like that's something that my mind usually like starts filling in like John P. Follow the trial of the terror of Amsterdam on this live blog. So that's the kind of association, the kind of vibes I get when I see everyone's names in the server. Like everyone looks like criminals.
Oh boy, we're all criminals to Lotte. Everyone, be careful. So Lotte, we've been you've been in 3 leagues now, so you've seen how they kind of work, right? So you've been
Mm-hmm.
in Brothers War, Dominaria. Did you like those leagues? Were you a fan of them?
I thought they were nice, but they didn't like scratch the itch that much. Like I didn't know what I was doing. Like that, I think that's
Sure.
a big part of it. So I only started doing like practice matches and like getting deck tags from people this week. Um, but I mean, limited magic is always fun.
I agree.
But I feel like this the Planechase League has really like I invested more in it and got more out of it, but I also think it just got some more oomph and some more flavor in there.
It's been yeah, the flavor has been knocked out of the park. But yeah, this has been a great league. But I think, but you've seen a few, so you know kind of the ins and outs. And we got that dreaded week 6 coming up, and there's a good chance you're going to have to play some games in it.
Mhm.
So what are one thing that you would change about the league?
Yeah, so I think like if there's one thing is that I think it could be a lot more new player friendly.
Agreed.
Um, Especially because I was thinking like there's quite some steps that you have to go to. Like you have to find it first, and like I think there's been some talk about getting other platforms to advertise in, but then you also have to have the wild cards
Yeah.
and the actual money saved up for it. And like I expect like for free to play players, people who are maybe students or live in low income countries, that's going to be a bigger ask to, or maybe who don't. Many people from the Netherlands, for example, don't have a credit card and would have a hard time like even paying the fee
Oh yeah.
to the Canadian stores. Um, so
So
I think that's really
how would you recommend to make it more newer player friendly? Like how would you, as someone who was a new player recently, what's something that would have helped you when you were new?
so. One thing that I've been thinking about, and maybe it's a little bit of a crazy thing, and like I think it would be great if the first entry to the league is free.
That's great.
Um,
First time's free.
yeah, so that like removes the barrier a little bit. Like maybe you get a little more people who like try and get a taste. Like I guess the risk would be that people sign up and then just disappear. But I know I don't think that's uh, too much of a problem. I also think that the server could be a little bigger without compromising the community aspect.
Yeah.
But also, I think we should just do it for people who live in Europe to make more matches.
So yeah, just people who live in Europe get in for free. Oh boy. You know what? That would boost the numbers up though, right? So there would be more people when you guys are trying to play. It would help.
Mhm.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, I don't know the logistics of what goes into, running a league and what pay and how much everything pays out based on a certain extent. So I'm sure having new players coming for free changes that math, but it's definitely not a bad idea. And how hard is it to convince someone to try something that's free, right? You ever have a friend
Yeah.
and you want
Yeah,
them
but
to
I
do
mean,
something?
still, like it's still like you need like the time and the wild cards and the money, and you need to find it. So that's
Yeah.
so it would only remove like one barrier. Like I also think that having like on a side server there are like personal chats you can make.
It's
Like
so
I would
good.
love it if there is like a forum on the main server. Like you have to on some of these Discord servers where everyone could just like make their own chats and like post their questions and advice, and everyone would get a little comment on that. So that will be more easy to get into as well. Like because for me, I only encountered the side server on my third league.
Side server is the server to be in, man. I've been saying it. I've been trying to say it so much. Side server is yeah, you get your own channel, you post your deck, people say if they like it or not, they give you tips, it's wonderful. It would be hard. I think it would be so hard to do in the normal server. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know anything about how Discord works. I assume
Yeah, so
things are
like
hard.
what one of the other servers have in what they do is they have like one uh, quote unquote channel, and that's a forum. And when you go there, you can just like make your own channel in there, but you have to actively go to that forum to see all those channels that people made for themselves. So it's a
Yeah.
little bit like second tier channels that are all in one place. What I like about that is that you can do whatever you want. Like you can make your own start your own conversation without having it clutter up the main server.
It's a great idea. League committee. Listen to these ideas, man. I'm trying to help you guys out. This is where they come from. I asked people, and she's given a great one. This is a great idea. Lots of we got to wrap it up. Our time is running short. As much as I'm enjoying our conversation, my last question I want to know, and this can be I open a fancy card, I won a pre-release or a game day or something even bigger than that. But what is your greatest Magic accomplishment?
Okay, so I have something that is super small, a little silly, but I'm also very proud of. Do you ever listen to limited set reviews, like limited resources, or limited and stuff like that?
I I've listened to the other two. Well, is Limited Centrifuge, is that another
That's just like
podcast?
the general term, like the
Okay,
like
yeah,
fatal set reviews, right?
sure, yes. I listen to those podcasts, sure.
Yeah. And when they do like set review, like for example, for Phyrexia All Will Be One, like have you listened to a set review in the recent years?
Yeah. I've listened to that. Yeah, definitely.
And have you ever noticed that in the past they used to do all the comments in alphabetical order, and now
Yes.
they do them by mana value?
Yeah.
That's just because I was like annoyed that they didn't do it, and I sent a message to Corticals from who does the set review with even Section Live Limited podcast, and hey, I think it would be great if you did them by mana value, and he was like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. We can make this work, and then like the next week they did it by mana value, and then the set later. Limited resources copied it, and now it's setting on Spyfall search and everything. And every time I
Ah,
listen to a set review, I feel a little bit proud of it.
you changed the set review game. Look at that. You changed something that multiple famous, people with pull and stuff in Magic. You changed a bunch of them. That's awesome. That's cool.
So that's my biggest Magic accomplishment. I'm more or less infinite in arena. I'm also happy about that.
More or less, yeah. It doesn't feel good to go infinite. Oh boy, it's a good feeling going infinite. Ah. I try to go infinite, but I either don't play well or I draft a bad deck because I'm trying to do something dumb, and then I lose some stuff. Well, Lotte, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, and I'll be rooting for you out there to make that mega draft. Your deck has been really fun to watch, and you're having a great league. So please keep it up.
Yeah, thank you. Love being here, and good luck with your death match later today.
Oh yeah, yes, please. As we record, this is Monday at 2 8:30 EST. But yeah, I have a death match. Wasn't trying to sign up for a feature match because I thought I'd be dead by now, but I've already won 2 death matches, and I'm playing against Michael M, who has won 3 death matches. So we're having a nice. We're both 13-10. One of us gets to continue our streak, and one of us will not. So hopefully, if I can win 2 more games, I can make week 6. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm trying. Real trying.
Nice. Any particular planes you are hoping for?
Ooh, Brawl plane. Everyone wants the Brawl plane. And I have a 3-color legendary, which I think is going to be really good if we can go there. Just because I can play an extra color, and I think a lot of people will be stuck on 2 colors. So I hope Brawl, because I think I'll
Imagine
have
being
an
stuck on
advantage.
3 colors.
Oh, all right. Oh, I think Brawl, and also people I feel like that's the one that everyone has been hoping to play, and it just hasn't happened yet. I think the 40 card one would be really interesting because everyone's deck's going to get whittled down to like best of the best.
Yeah, that's
And especially to go from like 80 cards where you have all the extra cards to 40 cards where you got to make a bunch more cuts. I think that would be really interesting. What about you? Is there a plane you want to see?
great. Yeah, I think the brawl playing would be cool. Also, the terrace playing just like has best of 5 every time. I think that could lead to like some epic matches. Like
best of 5 sounds really fun.
Yeah, although I'm not looking forward to doing best of 5 and then losing the first 2 games like by massive margins and then having to show up for a first game. But hopefully, it will be more evenly matched than that.
Or like the feel bad of like winning the first 2 and then going 0-3 and the next ones would be like, man, if this was a regular match, I would have won. Instead, I got beat because they sideboarded really well or something.
Oh, I just want to say that's just magic, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is. It's hard to get caught up in at pre-release. I've seen a lot of people complain about, drawing too many lands or not drawing enough lands. It's like, yeah, that's magic. That's variance. That's how it is. If we all complained about that, oh boy, how fun would the game be? Not very fun. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show again, and I'll be wishing you luck and watching you into week 6. Please play your week 6 games early and often. I know you're in a weird time zone, so I'm hoping you can find all your games and make that mega draft. I really am.
Thank you. See you around.
Yeah, have a wonderful day. So cool to talk to someone from the Netherlands, and I've never would have had that chance without this podcast and this league, right? It's so cool that I get to talk to someone like her and share opinions, and they were so cool, so nice, so fun. Thank you so much, Lotte, for coming on. Watch out for her this week because I think her deck might be the most broco. Just be careful. Golos, World Tree, Brawl Week. Oh, I am scared, and I'm not even playing. That's how scared I am. But that's not all this week. Not only are we saying hello to a new person that, first time for her coming on the show and the first time for me talking to her. They've only been around for a couple leagues. But we also have to say goodbye to a couple people this week. That's right. It's time for this segment, which doesn't have a name.
The river Styx, the river of death, has strange powers. Time to see if the legend is true.
You'll need this. A Charon, the ferryman.
Justin P., Code Pigeon. John P., Goku or go home. Richard K., Preacher. Man, what good company I'm in. Justin P. and Richard. Oh, Chris York on games. Look at these people. Paul G., the Dragon. Miranda L., Black Canary. Michael M., Adam Baum. These are all such wonderful members of our community. Hugo D., H. Dilla. Chris R., Sinkwater, my man. Nick S., Najisi. Chris P., Joker01. Zeke W., Smarmy Platypus. Mike B., Xenomorph. Ryan D., The Slickness. Noah B., Cisco. Emmett F., Sepulcher. Trevor F., Treskies. And Adam S., Wisma. That's going to do it for all of our lost companions this week. I hope that if you're still alive, I'm wishing you luck. It's not easy to get to week 6. You know the week 6 drill by now, right? Play your games early. Play them before Tuesday. If you're planning to play games after Tuesday, you're probably having a real bad time. You're going to have a tough time finding them. And this is Brawl, right? So it's going to be a little different. best of 3 brawl, no sideboarding, no learn, no lesson. It's going to be a little, it's different. It's going to be a little different than the other weeks have been, isn't it? But I'm excited to watch these games. I wish I could play in it. I just wish I was playing in the Brawl League. We all like Brawl so much. That's my one piece of feedback, is I just want to be involved. Since I don't get to be in the Brawl League, I'm going to be rooting for each and every one of you. I'm going to. Because I want you all to win. There's nobody that I don't want to win a league. You know, even Johnny. Big time Johnny. Always winning leagues. Always being a wonderful player. Even him I'm rooting for. Because if he wins, it's another win for Johnny. And who doesn't like Johnny, right? Oh, what a nice, wonderful person he is. Until we figure out who that is next week as we get ready for our mega draft, I wish you luck. I hope you get to keep a good 7 and that the shuffler is in your favor. And I'll see everyone here next week. Bye, everybody.